Cory Booker actually did it. Here's a couple snippets.
Nay. Behold, Lord, here I am. And so I confess that I have been imperfect. I confess that I've been inadequate to the moment. I confess that the Democratic Party has made terrible mistakes that have given lane to this demagogue.
Armhole too low.
I confess we all must look in the mirror and say we will do better. And it's not just defining ourselves what we're against. We, the next generation, as the baby boomers are leaving the stage, the last baby boomer president, we have to say that we're going to redeem the dream. We're going to dream America anew. We're going to start talking about bold things that don't divide people, that unite people. Bold things that excite the moral imagination of a country to do better, to go higher, to call us together. This is the time where new leaders in our country must emerge. I'm not talking about senators. I'm talking about citizens.
Just gotta say, he's holding it pretty goddamn well for someone who's been talking for 25 hours. That's pretty damn impressive, just like on a constitutional level. Senator Booker says he didn't eat for days, stopped hydrating before history-making speech. I'm surprised he didn't pass out. He's got to be pretty physically healthy to do this, you know? And unlike Thurman, you know, who had to, like, he got a 3-hour in break and then he pissed in a cloak closet or whatever. He just stood there, you know? It's very, very, very impressive. Oh, hello, pygmy hippo. Don't see what that has to do with what I'm talking about, but you know. He's also vegan. I did not know that he was vegan. Booker saved a woman from a fire in 2012. Oh, that's pretty cool. He rushed inside the 2-story building looking for residents with his 3-man security detail in tow. As the mayor. So he was just walking around after getting an interview as the mayor, and he and his security detail just ran into a burning building? All right, okay. Jesus, all right, okay. All right. Not cynical enough to not let something like that stand, you know?
And now it's our generation. We have to redeem the dream. We have to excite people again. He, in the highest office of our land, wants to divide us against ourselves, wants to make us afraid, wants to make us fear so much that we're willing to violate people's fundamental rights. We're willing to go after the speech on college campuses. We're willing to go after law firms, go after the freedom of the press. Don't let him do that. Don't become like him. Be an American that says, I look to the future and I'm excited. Yes, things are tough right now. They're hard, they're scary, they're hurting, but we can overcome this. Our American history, if it's nothing else, American history, if it's nothing else, it is a perpetual testimony to the achievement of impossible things against impossible odds. We are a nation that is great, not because of the people that are trying to whitewash our history, to remove great people, Native Americans, black people, and women from our military websites. I don't want a Disneyfication of our history. I don't want to whitewash history. I don't want to homogenize history. Tell me the wretched truth about America, because that speaks to our greatness. And so what do I want to people to do? It starts with us, man, and you're doing it. I've seen courage of my colleagues. We're doing it, but we have to do more, and I'm sorry. I'm not going to be a politician that's going to say, we are going to do more for you. I'm going to be a politician. I'm going to be a leader that demands more from America.
Some JFK shit right there.
I yield for a question while retaining the floor.
It's pretty good. You know, again, my opinions on Booker. I mean, he ran, of course, in 2020. I mean, we know he's not exactly a Bernie Sanders or whatever. You can still give him credit. Why is he filibustering? For fun. Sometimes people just do that. Oh yeah, here's him breaking Thurman's filibuster record.
I'm getting close to a record, folks, but
yeah, he's neurodivergent and a minor, okay? Quit criticizing him.
there's a room here in the Senate named after Strom Thurmond. To hate him was wrong.
Well,
maybe my ego got too caught up that if I stood here, just maybe I could break this record of the man who tried to stop the rights upon which I stand. I'm not here, though, because of his speech. I'm here despite his speech. I'm here because as powerful as he was, the people were more powerful. But I remind you, all those people who believe like me that we've got to redeem the dream, turn again to John Lewis, because you all know the story, my colleagues, of when the man that beat him savagely, drew blood, cracked bones. Decades later, he was a congressman. That man brought his grandson with him to ask for forgiveness from John Lewis. I heard about this story when I was in the car in Georgia with him. What did you do, John? This man that so viciously beat you, wounded you, bruised you, battered you. What did you do when he came to ask you for forgiveness? What did you do? And a good Christian man of faith, simply said, every one of us needs mercy.
Well,
every one of us needs redemption. I forgave him. I hugged him. We wept. And I looked at the boy. This nation needs you too.
Thanks for reminding us you're a liberal. Well, you can't let people forget, right? Here's him finally yielding.
Let's get back to the ideals that others are threatening. Let's get back to our founding documents, that those imperfect geniuses had some very special words at the end of the Declaration of Independence. It was one of the greatest in all of humanity declarations of interdependence. When our founders said we must mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. We need that now from all Americans. This is a moral moment. It's not left or right, it's right or wrong.
Did he beat the record? Yes, he did. It says on the screen.
Let's get in good trouble. My friend, Madam President, I yield the floor.
They blew the dang mic out. There you go. I do like get in good trouble. That's a good line. Schumer tried to get him to yield. Well, Schumer tried to get him to yield for a question, not yield the floor.
John?
Would the senator yield for a question?
Chuck Schumer, it's the only time in my life I can tell you no.
I just want to tell you a question. Do you know you have just broken the record? Do you know how proud this caucus is of you? Do you know how proud America is of you?
No one invited you, Chuck. Is he really trying to be involved in Booker's accomplishment? You guys need to put your thinking caps on a little bit before you talk. He's the Senate Minority Leader. Of course he's here. What do you think he wouldn't? Do you think he wouldn't be here? Obviously. Literally his job to be here. Now, yes, ideally he would not be here.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
I was astonished that he tried to interrupt him for this. He didn't. That you're letting your hate blind you. That's not what happened. He asked the Senator Booker if he could yield for a question, which has happened dozens of times throughout this speech. That's not an interruption. The hate has blinded you. That's not, yeah, it's not yielding the floor. Anyway, honestly, you know, I'm sorry for being a cringe liberal Hillary Clinton, I'm with her stan, or whatever the but it's just, you know, it's pretty impressive. Can't really be mad at it.
To be candid, Strom Thurmond's
Here's him after the
record always kind of just really irked me, that he would be the longest speech, that the longest speech on our great Senate floor was someone who was trying to stop people like me from being in the Senate. So to surpass that was something I didn't know if we could do, but it was something that was really, as we got closer, became more and more important to me.
He actually talked to reporters right after the speech was done. It's on Forbes breaking news, so I'm assuming the top comment is on his race. Hey, Forbes video editor, how do you f up the sound this badly? Never mind, that's the sort of thing I would ask.
Very restroom for 25 hours. Did you find a way to use the restroom?
I've heard way worse
Can you
audio.
talk to us about that?
A few things. One is I was very aware of Strom Thurmond's record since I've gotten to the Senate. I always felt that it was...
Oh, it's also desynced. Yeah, it's good. The something like it's people don't like this because they say it's performative, and then I don't know, like they forget that politics is all performative. I don't know. You know, one of the main reasons that Republicans have been able to gain so much ground in the public eye is because they're always doing stuff, right? Always performing, always getting in front of the camera, always yelling, always this, always that. And the Democrats just kind of like sit back and meander. Like, yeah, it's you obviously, you need to take constant public space. You need main character energy to push us through this. And I don't think that Cory, well, there are people who have less main character energy than Cory Booker. Obviously, you know, he's not Bernie Sanders, he's not AOC, but he's doing well given who he is. So gotta take what you can, right? But the type of performance matters though. Sure, and this is fine. A record-breaking, you know, Senate filibuster being conducted by a black man to beat a record set by a segregationist trying to filibuster the 1957 Civil Rights Act. I don't know, seems fine. It seems okay. I don't know. I'm not that mad about it. I did like his bit where he talked about how he and the Democratic Party have failed to meet the moment. I thought that was pretty nice, you know. Yesterday I learned Strom Thurmond has had a secret black daughter. And yesterday I said never ask a white supremacist the race of their girlfriend. Or their own race, to be honest with you. They're all like Filipino or something. I don't know why. No one's figured it out yet. She was a 16-year-old maid, if I recall correctly. That sounds like the kind of thing a person who would do a 24-hour filibuster to block the Civil Rights Act would be into. Yeah. I'm not going to look it up. I'll just believe you. I do not believe a significant portion of Republican voters know what they voted for. Dude, no one knows what they voted for. There are literally like multi-millionaire middle managers for banks that are like, we didn't think Trump would actually do the tariffs. We didn't realize it wasn't a bit. We thought he was doing a bit, you know? It's no one knows anything, okay? You have to grab the narrative. It also closed the Senate till Monday, blocked the SAVE Act from getting voted on. Why is the Senate closed right now? Because they hate doing their job? I never bother to keep track of when they're doing their damn job. The House is closed. Yeah, Congress. But he said in literally every speech that he was going to impose tariffs and deport migrant workers, and people still somehow thought grocery price would go down. Yeah, and you know what? You're not any better than them. I'm sorry, I reject. You cannot gaze into the abyss too long and thus become what you hate, okay? The reason we're in this mess right now is because the people with the money to finance these elections think that democracy is an impediment to not only their interest, but to society's interests. I don't think Elon Musk necessarily thinks he wants to the entire planet over for himself. I think he thinks that he would be the greatest God King to ever rule, and everything would suddenly make sense, and he would be able to steer mankind to a glorious future. I think he thinks that. I think a lot of megalomaniacs think that way. I don't think most people think of themselves as evil, you know? You don't want to fall into the trap that they fell into of like, well, the problem is that people are stupid. I say people are stupid on stream all the time, and it's true, but that's not the underlying cause of this, okay? And you know how I know that? Go talk to a blue state liberal and talk to them about like any political position you have. Wow, turns out both sides are pretty dumb, huh? Hey, go on Twitter and talk to somebody whose bio says they're a communist. Oof, I know. Yeah, just a random person. Roll the dice. I know. Yeah. And you know what? It's going to be like that forever. There is no economic policy that'll make this not be a thing. That's just not how it is. It's not how it works. The problem here isn't about intelligence. The problem here isn't about whether or not you know or don't know what tariffs do to the economy. The problem is people falling into narratives, right? People being emotionally compelled to support narratives that hurt them. It's about emotions. The logical arguments are secondary, usually a post hoc justification. It's about the gut feeling people have. People are scared. People are anxious. People feel like a future that they deserved is being taken from them. I think all these feelings are kind of fair, So who's going to address those feelings, right? Hillary Clinton with her everything is already fine, America is already great, and also we're going to marginally tweak, like, Pell Grant tax benefit, maybe like a slight rebate on da-da-da, like, or Donald Trump with a grand sweeping, main character narrative. You get me? It's about engaging with these feelings that people have. It's the reason why Bernie Sanders, for the most part, is popular in a lot of areas where Donald Trump does well. As a red state, Doc Dem, Vosh is so correct, I'm literally hard. Happy to keep you perked up. It's just important to keep in mind. Is it all right to be afraid? What are you, a sheep? What are you asking me for permission for? Feel whatever you want. I don't control your mind. Do you think that's why Carney is popular in America? I think that there are a lot of reasons why Carney is popular in Canada, not America, in Canada. But that's less of it. Like the narrative there is one of Canada being betrayed for no reason by America, their closest partner, and Carney being the alternative to a guy who sucks up to Trump. Obama had a narrative too. Too bad it was all horseshit. Yeah, but before people figured out it was horseshit, he won by some pretty big margins, didn't he? He won bigly. So the point is that it doesn't matter if the narrative is true. Yeah, it basically doesn't. The narratives don't get passed through Congress. Narratives aren't bills. Narratives are ways you sell an idea. You can package the same set of policies in different narratives all you want. If you wanted to implement like neo-Keynesian social democracy, you could package that in like a populist socialist revolution way. You could package that in a like technocratic, we're going to finally make the economy work properly again way. You could posit this in like a fascistic, the economy is run by Jewish people and we're going to like run it, we're going to use the government to like really start spending and not let the banks control everything. You can take the same, post-Keynesian, not neo-Keynesian. You can take the same set of policies and run them through people's head in a bunch of different ways, but it does need to be a compelling narrative. Now, I think it would be much better to posit those ideas more honestly in like a socialist, making the economy fair again kind of way than in an anti-Semitic way. But the point is, like, it needs to be thought of as an extra layer to politics, right? You can't just assume that because your policies will work that people will like them. It's a stupid thing to believe. You can't chastise people for being stupid just because you failed to sell them on your idea. You're a politician. That's your job.